Historic Oakview County Park is a unique site featuring a 19th century historic homestead with a mission to interpret North Carolina's agricultural heritage and rural history. The most recent addition to the property is a tenant house. The house arrived at Oakview in September 2012, and restoration projects are getting started.
Well, Historic Oakview County Park interprets the history of North Carolina agriculture. We do from about 1850 to 1950, so we cover a 100-year time span, and we do that through educational programs, through special events, through exhibits, but mostly through our original structures that are here on the property. What's always been missing from that story is a physical presence of all the sharecroppers and tenant farmers that lived here on the property that made that farm work. And that's what we hope to bring back now that we've been able to move this house onto the property, is to be able to tell a fuller story of all the people that lived and worked at Oakview and what they represent in North Carolina's history. It's always been part of our goals here at Oakview to find a tenant house or to reconstruct a tenant house, but it's a really large project that would take a lot of resources to pull off. So it was something we always kind of looked to do, but didn't think it would be something we actually would be able to do. Then about 3 years ago, we found this structure, and it existed on a piece of Wake County open space property. So it's something the county already purchased and was preserving as open space. So we went to look at it and saw what a tremendous match it was. We had some photographs of some of the houses that were here originally, and it matched so perfectly that we thought, all right, this is our chance to interpret tenancy at Oakview.
We actually went out to the structure 3 years ago for the very first time. It was perfect, other than the fact that it needed a lot of work. Termites have been very active in it. However, structurally, it matched perfectly what we were looking for. We had to remove several additions off the back and side of the house to get it to the form that you see right now. In September of this past year, we were actually able to finally move it here. What we're trying to accomplish here is show as accurately as we possibly can what a tenant house around the turn of the century here in North Carolina would look like. There's nothing really out there like that in a museum setting today.
We knew a lot about the people who owned the main house and learned more and more about them as we did more research. What we haven't known about are the other people. The people originally when the main house was built in 1855, the people prior to the Civil War who were enslaved here, and then after the Civil War, the people who lived here and worked as tenant farmers. Particularly people who were enslaved in North Carolina, the skills that they had were how to farm. But after the Civil War, they didn't have places to use those skills, so their paths were kind of narrow, and a lot of them became sharecroppers and tenant farmers, where you would have a house like the one we have here, and you would work the land of the people that owned the farm, and you were in an agreement with them to give them a share of your profits every year. We don't spend as much time talking about what people did in the 100 years after the Civil War and how they lived and the way the system was set up, and that's what we're hoping to really accomplish. Once the restoration process is over, then we'll probably enter a fundraising phase to interpret the structure. It's a 2-room house, and we're going to do an interior like it would have been in a tenant house at that time period around the turn of the century in one of the rooms, and in the other room we're going to put in an exhibit about tenancy in the South and North Carolina in particular, and here at Oakview specifically. What we hope to do once we get that done, we'll open it up to the public, and we'll start taking school children through there. Anywhere from 20 to 25,000 school children a year here at Oakview. They get a glimpse into what life was like around the turn of the 20th century on a mid-sized farm here in our state. And most of the children that come through here have never even been on a farm before. They don't know what all that would have entailed. And we do curriculum-based educational programs to help support the curriculum in the Wake County Public Schools. And what we hope to do here is tell a little bit of the story of the big house versus the small house, and what was life like just across the way for the owners and for the people that worked on the farm. And it's easy to tell kids that, and it's easy to show them a photograph and tell them about the history, but you don't make that same connection that you can when they can actually stand there and see it. And they can see how close these people lived together, that a farm Oakview size was a community of people. It wasn't just a person that owned a big, pretty house and lived there with his family and the rest of the farm just ran. There were so many different people that made that possible, and all of their life stories are as relevant and important for us to remember as the people that owned the big house.
To donate, please mail a check to Oakview County Park, 4028 Carrier Drive in Raleigh, 27610. Be sure to note on the check that the donation is for the Tenant House.